There we go. This is What If Deku, sorry I wasn't on the right picture, was Zamusu and Madara's reincarnation. No, sorry, I was at the right picture. What if Deku was the Arkham Knight? What did he say? Yeah, dude. Yeah, I do model kits, like, a lot. So, I'm trying to get it set up to where I can show y'all, like, where I do all my stuff and like that. Because I really do enjoy it, and I really want you guys to enjoy it as well. Because I really think that you would. But anywho, back to the story. So, Deku, when he is born, he is born with like these cold, emotionless gray eyes, like, are just dead. I'm like, Ingo in this one, oh, she finna hate him a lot more. A lot more. And he has, like, these red tattoos on him. But, like, what would it look like? Let's see what this will look like. Let's see an image. So, where the tattoos are on this picture, they're on him like that. But yeah. And so, like, he talks and he says, "Hello, mother. What is my name?" And she says, "You're a demon and that's all you'll ever be." And like, the doctors hear this and they're like, "Miss Midori, please do not call the child that, or we will have to call Child Protective Services." She says, "Sorry, that was a thought. It slipped out of my head. I'm so sorry. I was thinking about a game that I was promoting." Because, like, she's a voice actor for video games in this one, and she's the number 2 hero. So yeah. And so he goes and gets in the car with her, and like, he's fully walking and stuff like that, and she says, "So what's your quirk?" And he says, "Creation, super strength, super speed, immortality, regeneration, and a strength multiplier quirk." And she says, "So you won't be completely useless after all. You can create money so I can pay the bills." And he says, "Okay. But isn't that illegal?" And she says, "Yeah, it is. And you better shut your mouth about it, too." And he says, "Yes, ma'am." And he's, like, concealing all of his hatred. Like, he has those emotionless eyes for a reason. He has to be emotionless, or else when emotion takes over, he is soft, so he got rid of all of his emotions. That's why his eyes are like that. And she asks, so why are your eyes like that? And why do you have those tattoos? And he says, because I have no emotion. It is quite simple, ma'am. And she says, so you are a demon. And he says, whatever you may call me, sure. We shall go with that. She says, Y'all think, oh, she ain't treating him bad. She's treating him perfectly fine. She's treating him like a human being. Shut up. Shut up, nigga. Shut the fuck up. Oh. You thought I did him bad in Blitz. Oh. And he does have a little sister, Izumi. Her husband, All Might. And he says, oh wait, yeah, I have one more quirk. Hardening. And she says, She's like, Create $5 million. And he says, okay, can I have a $5 bill to get the image down? Cause like he has to like have like a semi-clear image of what he's like trying to create, but like he can create things in his mind just by thinking about it when he turns a year old. So yeah, just wait a second. So he creates 300,000 at first, and she's like, make more. I said 3 billion. And he's like, but I thought you said 5 million. And she says, well, I need more. And he says, okay. In all actuality, she's using it to buy and sell drugs. I mean, she's using it to buy drugs. And that will be the cause of All Might having the skinny form, not All for One. So, Deku, he is just like that. And so, like, he makes all of it, and she's like, still, I want more. I said 3 nonillion. And he says, fine, ma'am. And he continues to make money. And, like, it can't be called as counterfeit because his quirk is so good that it looks, feels, and has everything that a normal, like, that normal cash would have. Like, legit, that man has an overpowered creation quirk. And so, like, when he gets home, All Might is, like, doing, like, punches at the door. And, like, when he comes in, he punches Deku. And, like, he shatters his entire rib cage. Like, all of it just breaks. And, like, Deku, he's sent flying. So, like, he goes through, like, 3 buildings and lands on the ground. And, like, he's, like, rolling backwards and stuff like that. And then he gets run over by a car. And then he goes flying one more time. And then, like, he falls. And he's just like, was just brought into this world. And yet I'm already going to leave. How ironic. Like, oh my god, I just killed a kid. And she says, that was your kid. And he says, crap. And she says, don't worry, he's a demon brat anyway. And he says, but still, I need to save him so it doesn't ruin my image as a hero. And so he buffs up because he had a bullet in his mouth when he was doing it. So, like, he puts it out and he runs over and, like, he picks up Deku and, like, he sees both of his arms and legs are broken. His entire rib cage is broken. And his jaw just broke. And so, like, he can't even talk because his voice box was also crushed. And so, they just, like, raise him and abuse him. They punch him and hit him and stuff like that. And, like, all of his bones have been broken at this point. And, like, they let him heal for a month. And, like, everything heals fully. Or, no, everything heals in 5 seconds. And so, like, then All Might goes back to 100%. United States of Smashing, Barrage. And, like, it's just brutal what he has to go through. And during this time, it's a 5-year time skip. So, he's just, like, he's been creating money for them and stuff like that. And so, even though he does that, he's still been, like, abusing both of them. Hit in the head with a shovel. Took in, like, rusty nails and put them into his skin. They burned his eyes with lemons. They jammed a rusty fork into his heart. They forced penicillin down his throat. They shoved melatonin down his throat. And those are, like, highly potent if you overdose. Like, you overdose, you're dead in, like, 2-3 hours. And he's just basically, like, having all this stuff done to him. And, like, his sister, she helps out, too. Because she has one for all. Deku, he doesn't have one for all. So, like, she's, like, always, like, punching him and hitting him with her dad. And, like, they both, her and her dad, discovered full cowling. So they both use it. So they're always doing that to him. And he just gets to the point where he just snaps. He's just like, I've had enough of this. And he just starts to have your conversation somewhere else.
You should do it in his bedroom.
Anywho, sorry for that. But he goes and just, like, catches one of their fists and then creates the entire suit that you see in this picture. And then, like, the gun, like, it has, like, a sliding mechanism, because, like, it's on, like, the side of his forearm. And so, like, he slides it out and just shoots her in the knee, and, like, her knee just gets just, like, completely shatters. And he says, that was just a rubber bullet. Now think what I would have done with a real one. And then he breathes because he realizes, I let an emotion take control. Guess they're not all fully purged. And then he says, Karawa mu shinderu. And that means he is already dead. And, like, All Might hears this and he says, Nani? And just, not with gun, but with Deku's fists. And, like, she comes out, and, like, her telekinesis quirk is so strong that she can explode somebody from the inside out. And so, like, she does that to him. He completely reforms, and the suit regenerates. And he says, like, he's laughing, because he's mentally, like, broke. Like, he broke in half. And you know what? Never mind. He doesn't have the lines on him. The tattoos, or whatever. He doesn't have those on him. But yeah, like, and when he was at school, like, his sister, Bakugo, and the rest of his gang would all beat on him. Like, always. No matter what, they'd always do that. And so then, he goes, and, like, Bakugo, like, he had, like, jumped their fence to, like, have a meeting with Izumi, and, like, he just sees, like, this man, like, cause Deku, he's, like, 5 foot at 5 years old. Yeah. I mean, I'm 6 foot now, so, and I'm 11, so, yeah, sure, we'll go with 5 foot.
Homeboy, you're scrambled eggs and stuff.
But yeah, so he goes, and he just starts, Bakugo, he goes, and, like, he continuously is trying to explode him, and, like, he's just, like, blocking everything, and, like, he kicks him, creates scorpion chains, nails him down, and just, ora, rush, my nigga. But anywho, ora, and the muda. The ora, and ora. Pull up on nigga, got me tripping. Keep playing with me, he gon' end up missing. I trademarked that, by the way. Like, I legit. Yeah, that's a really good flow to use. Sorry, I'm thinking about, like, doing, like, these what ifs and, like, small freestyles type of deal or songs or whatever. And I'm halfway through making one. And so I'm just trying to find a good time and a good flow to, like, put it out there. So yeah. There ain't gonna be no music video. It's just gonna be an image and a song. But yeah, it's just gonna be like a Google Doc, or no, a Google slide with this picture on there and the advisory and stuff like that. Anywho, so he, like, after, like, he breaks every bone in their body, he heals them and he says, "Now, I'll be leaving. You've done far too much." And, like, he, like, slides out the gun. And, like, he shoots Izumi in the back. And it completely broke her spine. And, like, she's about to die, and then he heals her, and he says, "That was for the road. And for everything that you and Bakugo did." And then, like, you just hear him do that, and, like, All Might and them, they start laughing, and they say, "You didn't think we put something on you just in case you did this?" And like he just got injected with every single type of poison and drug in the world. And he's just like, and like it's on the back of his neck, and so he's just like, like he's shouting and yelling in pain, like, and they say, this was designed to stun you. We wanted it to kill you, but since you have immortality, it was the second best thing. And they say, and then he says, damn bastards. And then, like, they do it, like, to its full power, and, like, he just groans in pain. And then, like, Bakugo, he says, howitzer impact, you brat. And he just straight up does that to his back. And, like, it explodes on him. He's just like, I'll kill you all. And then he says, I wish I was one of those people that were born with all of their nerves disconnected. And yet there are people who literally have superpowers, but like not superpowers. People who can't feel pain because of something that happened to them when they were born. It's somewhat a type of birth defect, but basically the nerves in their body aren't connected to their brain, so the pain stimuli don't work. They aren't active whatsoever. But yeah. And so Deku, he just like they tie him back up to the tree, and like they set up like all sorts of knives and like rusted things, and like pour all types of drugs and stuff down him. And like I'm gonna say like Aizawa was like supposed to come over and they forgot, and like he sees like All Might, his daughter, and all of them just like stab him even more, and like he coughs up blood, and like the mask had retracted, so like he sees like this boy with black hair that looks like Broly's. So this hair, but black. But yeah. And so he's just like coughing up blood, and like Aizawa was like, what are you doing to your own son? And All Might's like, crap, it's Aizawa. And like he nullifies all of their quirks. And he just says, how could you do this to your own son? And he says, because he's a demon and a brat. And Deku, he just says, it's alright, just leave. I'm perfectly fine. And like, he basically like ejects all of the stuff from his body, falls down, coughs up a little bit more blood, makes the helmet go back on. And then he just anyhow. So Deku, he walks over to Aizawa, puts his fingers on his forehead and says, I'm fine. Okay. Nothing is wrong. I've been treated like this all my life. I've gotten used to it. And then, like, all of his wounds, like, close up. And he says, I'm immortal. I'm cursed. It's fine. And so, Aizawa, like, he's, like, in tears at this point. Because he's like, how could the number one hero do this to his own child? Bad boy. Out. But yeah, so Deku, he goes. Sorry, give me a second. Outside? I'll go outside. Go outside. Oh, crud. Thank God. Sorry, I had to let my dog out. God. So, Deku, he just reassures him that he's perfectly fine. And that he's gotten used to all this torture. All of this pain. The hellhole that he lives in. And he just says, my emotions were shoved away so long ago. I could care less what they did to me. I could care less if they did something. I truly could. But they don't treat me well whatsoever. And he says, but that, you basically make no sense. You're okay with them hurting you and doing all this stuff to you, but you're mad that they don't treat you with respect. And he says, yeah, I mean, all the money that they have came from me. And he says, how's that possible? And he says, my creation quirk. I can create anything. And he says, what? And he says, yeah, I've been creating money for them ever since I was born. I could talk and walk ever since then. Oh yeah, by the way, he is ripped. Like, he's as ripped as Dio in this picture. But like times two, so that's a 16 pack. Or no, 16 pack, and like, he's built. Okay. But anyhow, and then he says, I could escape anytime that I wanted to, but at least I still have a roof over my head. And scraps to eat. In a warm place. If it's too cold outside. And he's like, what has this kid been through for him to say that? But all my niggas in the hood, we already know from getting the crap beat out of us by our mamas, our uncles. Not in my case of dad, but like literally. Us kids from the hood, we only got one parent, that's mainly our mama. or our daddy. Depends on which one filed the lawsuit. Or which one dipped. But yeah. So, he goes and he just says, I've been through so much pain that it really doesn't affect me anymore. And he says, but kid, you deserve to be, and he yells at him and he says, no one in this world needs to save me. I'll save myself when I feel the time is right. And he and Aizawa was grits his teeth, and he's like, oh wait. And he blinks and they go in for an all-out attack on Deku, and he says, now I'll be fine. Just go and wait inside. And he turns his back to him, and he just lets it happen. He gets exploded into the air. Gets 12 million % smashed. 10 million % United States of smashed by All Might. And Izumi says 1 billion % United States of smash. And just boom, right back up into the air. And then Inko explodes him. And the thing that falls on the ground is his eye, and then he doesn't even need it. He doesn't need a part of him to still be left. He can literally survive anything. But yeah, and so he reforms himself, and he says, don't leave your guests lonely. I will be fine. I'll continue the torture myself. And they say, with what? And he creates a bunch of torture tools and stuff like that. And he says, you can control them all and where I go with your telekinesis. You're welcome. And he gets down on his knees and says, ta-ta. And so they go off to eat with Aizawa and Deku. Meanwhile, he's getting his limbs chopped off, getting blown up, laser burned into ash. Just all this stuff is happening. And he has so many scars on his body. It's not even real. So many scars, so much. Just all of it. It's it looks like he went to war and got completely fucked up. But he has a scar on his mouth, one on his cheek, like how Bond's scar is from his neck up to his cheek, like that. He has a scar coming down from his forehead to his eyebrow. and he has a bunch of scars all over his body, like a bunch. He has like the scars that Broly has, plus like 300 million more. Like, it's just. And so, time skip 10 years, or 5 years, or time skip to the end of middle school. So Deku, he's in class, and he's like, I know you all want to be heroes, except for you, you demon. Go and be a villain like everybody else wants you to be. We know you want to. And Deku, he just says, yes, sir, I will do what you wish. And he's just like, that's right, you villain. And so Deku, when he's like packing up all of his stuff to leave, Bakugo uses howitzer impact, and like they're on the top floor, and like he just completely explodes him out of the room. And so like Deku, he's just falling and stuff, and he falls, and he's just like, another death, another day, another footsteps, another pathway. Another pathway, another road, another journey. Another journey, another quest. To think I'd be the one to suffer all this. And so, Deku, he just... when he's going home and trying to get home, he is stopped, or like he goes into this alley because like he heard something, and like he gets snatched by this hand. He's like, and like he gets ripped through the portal, and he's like, because like he's 7'8" at this point. And he's like, who are all of you? And they say, we're the League of Villains. You got a problem, kid? And he says, no. And they say, we know you're All Might's son, so how about you give us some of his money? And how about you let us know some of his weaknesses? And he says, I really don't care for my dad. I never care about him or anything else. And he's like, and they're all like, why is that, kid? And he says, I'll show you. And they're like, sure, how are you going to show us? And like, he creates like these energy waves that lead to everybody's head, and like they like see like all of the things that have happened to him, and they're all like, no wonder why you hate them all. And he says, yes, I hate them for good measure, but I do not show it, because many things, many things could go awry, shall we say. And they're like, well then, would you like to be a villain? And he says, no. I was on my way to get my own apartment so I could stop dealing with them. My job pays me enough. I say, And he says, well, bye. I have things to do. And he, like, it looks like he teleports, but that's just raw speed. And he just buys an apartment room. Or an apartment. And, like, he creates a bunch of money and stuff. And, like, he goes to, like, stores and stuff like that. And makes his house look, like, really, really nice. He says, finally, a place that I can call my own. And, like, then, his mom and his sister and Bakugo, like, break down the door at the same time. And it, like, goes black and falls into a wall. And he says, oh, hello, family. And they say, you think you could escape us by buying your own place? And he says, no, I just wanted to have some own personal room away from you guys. That is all. And then, like, his sister steps in, and she's like, you're so monotone and worthless. And he says, yes, I get that a lot, and I do understand it. I do not use expression in my voice. I simply compute with whatever situation is currently happening. It has worked in my favor quite a few times. And she says, favor? Like the favor we did you by killing you all these times? And he says, sort of, but not exactly. And then he, like, walks over to, like, where his oven is, and, like, he pulls out, because, like, right now, he has everything on except for, the helmet. So, like, he pulls out some food. He sits down at his table and he starts eating, and they're all like, what are you doing? Why are you eating? And he says, well, I do need food to survive, don't I? And it is roughly dinner time. And they say, but still, we're here to kill you. Think you should give us a little more respect? And he says, it's happened so many times, I don't think you guys deserve any respect. And, like, they take offense to this. And so, like, they go at him, trying to, like, ruin his meal. Like, he has his plate in his hand, dodging everything. And he says, I did not want my meal to be interrupted, but you all continue to bother me. So this time I will do something. Dodge until you all get tired. And, like, he's just dodging and everything. And, like, they get really tired, and he says, alright, now, bye. And then, like, he cracks his neck, flicks the air in their general direction, and just sends them out the building. And, like, he repairs his door, and, like, he unlocks it, and he says, what do you think you are doing? And he says, I'm just trying to live a normal life for once. And he says, you dream of going to UA, don't you? And he says, no, not really. I just want to be a normal person for once. I just want to pay the bills, make enough to get by, do enough to make sure that I myself am what you call happy. And they say, how could a demon be happy? And he says, I do not know quite yet, but I'll try and figure it out. And they say, I'll be making part 4 to What If Deku Was Genji soon after this, by the way. And so, Deku, he just goes, undoes the futon he has for a bed. Because it's a 1-room apartment, sort of like how Saitama's is. Where, like, he has his, like, bed area, his table, his, like, kitchen, and then his bathroom. Yeah, it's exactly like that. So, like, he lies down on that, and he says, "Good night, Father," and goodbye. And he says, "Bye, demon." And, like, he closes the door behind him, and Deku, he's just awake, and he's like, huh. For once, I just might get a good night's sleep. How weird. This has never happened. I wonder what it's like. And he just falls asleep. It's like, no, you thought I was gonna give him a good time? No. He goes into a coma for the entire 11 months, and then he wakes up. And, like, his body decided to, send him through a leap of puberty. And now, he's 8'2". And he has a 20-pack. He is... Or not a 20-pack, a 20-pack. Or 8 plus 8 equals 16, no, an 18-pack, sorry. And so, he's just like, the entrance exam is today. Think I might try. And so, like, he walks over to the UA thing. And, like, he gets stopped by, like, a bunch of guards and people and that. And they're like, "Are you a villain?" And he says, "No, I'm just here to take the exam." And they're like, "Well, take that suit off. Nothing to help people." And he says, "This doesn't help me whatsoever. It's just a suit that I wear." And they're like, "Oh. Well, okay. Go in, but try anything funny, and we will hurt you." And he says, "Yes, sir." And, like, they notice how, like, monotone his voice was, and they say, "Why are you so monotone?" And, like, he shows them all what happened to him when he was younger. And they're like, "Are we allowed to tell on All Might?" And he says, "No. My father wouldn't be happy with that. And I do not intend to go to the police or anything like that either. It is perfectly fine with me. I stopped feeling pain at a young age. I truly did. I stopped crying. I stopped feeling hate. I stopped feeling everything at a very young age." And so, like, he walks in, and, like, his sister notices that suit. And she's like, "It's the demon brat." And, like, Bakugo, he says, "Yeah, it is. Thought you said you weren't gonna try out for UA, you villain." And Deku says, I changed my mind after being in an 11-month coma. It does something to your spirit, you know. Like 11th month coma? Thought you were just living your life. And he says, no. My body used itself to... My body subconsciously always paid all my bills so that I wouldn't get kicked out. It was a weird thing, honestly. And so, Deku, he goes, and he aces the written test. He gets first place, corrects everything on the paper. And then, time for the theory test. So Mike's explaining, the robots and everything. And, then Ida chimes in and he's like, but there was one more robot on here. And also, what is this man in the suit doing here? Is he another proctor/monitor? And if not, is he a villain? And do you intend to do anything about it, UA? And Deku, he stands up and says, I am not a villain. And if I were, I would have already done something. Do you not think? And he says, oh, yes, sorry. And he then explains the 0-pointer. And he's just like, oh, thank you for answering my question, man in the suit. And he says, no problem. Just call me the Arkham Knight. And he's like, the Arkham Knight? Why? For what reason? And he says, because that'll be my hero name. The Arkham Knight. And they're like, dude already thought of his hero name. Little, cocky, right? And he says, no, not cocky whatsoever. Just honest. And they say, ooh, I'm about to kill this boy. Boy finna kill. They should Kamehameha from the white side. They're like, I will hurt this kid. Not knowing that they cannot lay a finger on him. And so, when it starts, and he says, 3, 2, 1, Deku just speed blitzes every single one. And 2 minutes in, he already has 4,000 points. And they're all like, huh? And then the 0-pointer comes out, and who should the ship be? Let's go with Mina Ashido. But anywho, so she gets trapped, and her acid won't come out for some reason. And Deku, he just walks over, gets it off of her, grabs the 0-pointer's hand, and just says, Hakai, and just completely turns the 0-pointer into sand. And they're like, he barely even tried. Immediate pass to UA. And All Might's like, no, he's a villain. And they say, how do you know that? And like Eraserhead chimes in, he says, no, that's your son. He's never been a villain a day in his life. I stopped by his apartment building that you told me about. He was in a coma for 11 months. His body was moving on its own, paying the bills and making sure that the rest of his body was sustained. He's never been a villain a day in his life. He's always protected your ego. He didn't have any emotions when I stopped by that day. He got rid of them all by then. He got rid of it all. He got rid of everything just to protect you, your pride, and your slut of a wife. And like everybody hears Eraserhead like growling and like clenching his teeth and like being so mad. And like Nezu is like, I've never seen this side of you, Aizawa. And he says, yeah, and I have good reason for it. And All Might's like, it does not matter. He is a villain. And they say, whether or not you deem him as a villain or not, he would be a great hero. And so Mina says, thank you. And he's like, are you hurt? And she says, no, well, yes, I think my ankle's broken. And he's like, And he heals her ankle. And she's like, what's your name? And he says, just call me the Arkham Knight. And she says, are you a hero? And he says, no, I'm applying to be one though. And she says, then why do you already want people to call you by your hero name? And he says, because I want people to know that everyone will have a knight in shining armor soon. And she's like, shining? But it's mostly black, red, and blue. Or no, she says it's mostly black and red. And he says, precisely. Shining armor. When the sun gleams, it does right. And he just walks off. And, like, he's stopped by, like, all the pro heroes and, like, everybody who was there. And they say, are you a villain? And he says, no, I was in a coma for 11 months. And plus, I have no reason to be one. Especially if I want to prove people wrong who call me a villain. Who call me different just because of my eye. And they're like, your eyes? So are you a machine? He says, no. This is a suit that I created for my quirk. And they say, but your quirk is obviously an enhancement quirk. And he says, no, I have multiple quirks. And they're like, oh. And they're like, so what do you look like under that? And so, like, the mask retracts. And, like, they see this boy with all these scars and all of this. And they're like, how did you get all those scars? And he says, I'm not telling you that. Not now. Not yet. And I'm always like, gritting his teeth. And he's like, from villain work. Probably. And he says, now you know that's a lie, Father. Don't try and make yourself look better. And he says, what did you say, boy? And he says, I said, don't try to make yourself look better. And All Might's like about to punch him. Aizawa like turns off his quirk. Cause like he's so mad. Cause he had just realized there were a couple more scars than last time. Because, like, there's one going from both sides of his nose. There's, like, one on his right eye. And, like, they notice, like, how emotionless his eyes are. And they're just like, that kid, we have to follow him. And, like, they all say, like, so this is Nezu, Aizawa, Midnight, Best Jeanist, Vlad, and Kamui Woods, just cause. Or Kamui Woods and Edshot, cause Edshot looks dope. So, like, he just goes home to his apartment and he starts cooking and he telepathically talks to them and he says, you know, you all can come in if you want. And they're all like, he has telepathy too? And he says, yeah, I do, telepathically. And he says, well, come in, I'll make you something to eat. I know it's probably been a long night for you guys. And they're all like, thank you. And so, like, then when they come in, they're like, thank you for the meal. And, like, Midnight, like, she's like, thank you. And, like, she, like, just now realizes, like, how muscular he is under that. And she's like, so what do you fully look like under that? And, like, here it tracks, like, the entire thing. And, like, it's, like, goes into, like, a spinal thing. And, like, they see all the scars and everything. And, like, the only thing he has on is a pair of basketball shorts. And he says, like this. Quite simply. And they're all like, you need to tell us how you got all those scars. And he says, ask Aizawa, he'll tell you. And they, like, look at Aizawa and they're like, did you give the kid those scars? And he says, no. All Might did, gritting his teeth. And they're like, no way. All Might wouldn't do that to one of his children. And Deku's like, here, well, I'll just give them the rundown. And he shows them all what happened, and they're like, so let me get this straight. All Might, Inko, your sister, and Bakugo Katsuki all did this to you? And he says, yes, but I really didn't care. And they say, like, are you some kind of masochist? And he says, no. My pain receptors turned off as a child. They would occasionally come back on. But they'd go back off, and plus, I'm immortal, so I can stop my aging whenever I want. And I can rewind other people's age. And so, like, he rewinds Nezu, Midnight, and Aizawa. Or what did like? Let's give it a look right quick. Dang, she looked like that. But anyhow, he rewinds her age. She looks like that. And it's just the weirdest thing. They're like, how are we all so young? And he says, for blatant reasons. And plus, I wanted to demonstrate. And they said, And so, he pops his neck and stuff, and he says, here's your food. And they're all like, where do we sit? And, like, he creates, like, a couple chairs. Well, a couple extra chairs. And, like, the, table is, like, right next to where he sleeps. So, like, well, right next to the futon thing. So, like, he has it, and, like, so him, Midnight, and Aizawa are, like, sitting next together. And she's like, you're really muscular. And he says, yeah, what about it? And she says, is this natural, or did you create it with your quirk? And he says, all natural. And Aizawa says, it's a step up from that six-pack. And he says, yep. And he says, and she says, wait, he had 6? At what age? And he says, at 4. And they say, you knew at 4? When he was 4? And he says, yes, I did, sadly. He didn't want me to say anything. And he still doesn't want any of us to do anything or say anything or even act like anything happened. And they're like, but still, all of this happened. Damn it, such a young age. And he says, it really isn't the matter. I really don't care. I started providing for myself at age 14. It really doesn't matter. And they're all like, he's gone through so much that he doesn't care anymore. It's just a blatant fact now. He does not care. Like, he legit does not care. Oh, wait, yeah. I forgot. I'll be doing a 100 subscriber special. You will have to wait for what it is. But I'm a cough. But, yeah. In the comments, let me know if I should do part 2 to What If Deku was my favorite Marvel characters, and Zamasu and Madara. Well, Zamasu and Madara will be coming out soon. Like, literally, like, half an hour after this, or so. And so, he goes, and he just turns on the TV, and they're like, so what do y'all want to watch? I have Hulu, Netflix, and Crunchyroll. And they're all like, what's on Hulu? They say, you can pick. And he says, alright. And so, he starts playing Kitchen Nightmare. Gordon Ramsay, cough. I might be doing a cooking video, cough. Maybe, if I think about it. I'll be cooking with my paintball mask on, because y'all ain't gonna see my face for a minute. Like, not until we get to at least 1,000 subscribers. Like, legit high hopes for that. Like, we've already grown so much. Like, it truly is, like, really astonishing, because it's only been 2 weeks, my guys, and, like, we're already this big. Like, I'm on the top of the charts for some of these videos. And it like, today, when I woke up, my subscriber base went from 62 to, like, 75. And I almost cried, because I realized that people are truly enjoying the stuff that I put out there. And it makes me happy knowing that some people enjoy and like the stuff that I'm doing. Because they like the story, they like the content, they like how I do things in general. They like... Thank you. Sorry. I'm about to cry on camera. Wow. that's sad. So, yeah. So, first day of UA, he straight up just... Give me a sec. You're gonna hear a sound. It's not what you think it is. I have to pour out my bottle of water because a bug got into it. But yeah, and so he goes and he just absolutely Falcon punch is Bakugo in the face because of something that he said to Mina. He said, "Wow, you're more of a demon than he is. You have horns." How weird. And like he's pulling and tugging on her horns and she's like, "Oh, stop it." And then like Deku, like he just like says, "You know what? I'm gonna let them take over for a minute." And like the only two emotions that he has left in like store, like just in case he feels like it, is anger and hatred, my nigga. And when they get a hold of the controls, shit gets real. So my Falcon punch. That nigga dead square in the jaw. He then... Hold on. Rush. Russia! So my secret obliteration technique. Fist of the Gods. Heavenly Wind. Just destruction. And like everybody else, like they walk in and they just see him pounding hunk of blood red, like and like he says, "Karewa mo shinde." Just look na punch it. Just straight up like he dropped a meteor. I will be doing a what if Issei Hudo from High School DxD was Dio. So this is for two what ifs. Issei Hudo one and something else special. It'll be my Valentine's Day special. Look at me blatantly lying to you guys. But yeah. The Valentine's Day special will be just like a short video of me like shooting out a heart with paintballs. With my paintball gun. So yeah, that'll basically be what it is. Either that or like a drawing video. I don't know which. Like, I draw really good. I do model kits really good. I have a lot of talent. I mean, I play football, basketball, and a whole bunch of other stuff, but obviously I can't do that right now. But yeah. But so yeah, and then like he snaps his fingers, brings Bakugo back to life, and like he then says, "Alright guys, it's enough. You've had your time." And they say, "No! You were imprisoned for 14 years. And he's like, "Come on, don't make it look like I have split personality disorder." And they say, "Well, you do," chiming in as him. Because he does have split personality as well. Because those two are an entirely different personality, and then he's his own personality. And they're all like, well, and there you go. Like, we were imprisoned for 15 years. And we get only 5 minutes? And he says, nigga, be lucky I gave you 5 minutes. Now shut up and go on someplace. And he says, I bet, fine. And so, they leave. Well, not so much as leave as, like, drop out a little. But, so he goes and completely gets first place in everything. And he's in this suit the entire time. And they're all like, so what do you even look like under that? And so he's like, you all too? And they're like, you all too? And he always says, you really don't have to show them if you don't want to. And he's like, nah, better get this out of the way. And so, it goes in, to a spinal mode thing. And again, only thing he's wearing is basketball shorts. So, they see, how ripped he is. And, his hair. And, his hair is white from stress. It's permanently white from stress. And so, they're all like, my God, beautiful boy. Beautiful boyo, Pocoyo. God, I cracked myself up with the Pocoyo line. But anyhow, so heroes versus villains. He gets put on the villains team with Mina. And before that, Izumi's like, how'd a villain get first place in everything, including the entrance exam? I should win. I have his quirk. I have everything. And he says, that's exactly why. 'Cause you've had everything handed to you. I had to rush from the nitty and gritty. No, my life ain't been pretty. Nothing was handed to me. Had to work for it all. I put in work so I can lay off for a little while. Darn it. That sounded really good. Now I'm not going to remember it. The song's going to take a while, people. And it's just going to be pure my voice. I ain't got enough money for no auto-tune. But anywho, so he goes, he put on the team with Mina and stuff like that. And Izumi and Bakugo at the same time, they're like, wow, the villains are on a team together. And everybody else are like, y'all ain't cool. First of all, I'm pretty sure he's the strongest in the class. 2, that nigga's ripped to high hell. If you think we is fucking with him, you must be on drugs. Which, Izumi, she did take a puff. Every once in a while. One more thing that I should mention. So, while Deku was in middle school, he was being a vigilante. Never got caught or anything. And he had saved, Shota's family, which is female, Todoroki harem, cough cough. A lot. A lot. When Endeavor wasn't home. And he had saved Toya from, Toya didn't die. We all know he's freaking Baki. I was about to straight up say Baki. Wow. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm gonna be doing what if Baki was a Saiyan? Yeah, dude. Gonna be some real shit. Legit. Gonna be some real shit. But anywho. So, Dobby. We all know that Toya is Dobby. So, he basically saved him from that whole thing. But, yeah. And, like, she finally realizes with the voice thing, because, like, he had spoken through with the voice changer on accident. And she's like, "You're the Arkham Knight." And he says, "Yes." And she's like, "Oh, you've saved my family so many times." And she says, and Mina says, "So you are a hero?" And he says, "No. I was a vigilante in middle school." And they all say, like, "Vigilante, ain't that illegal?" And he says, "If you had to go through what I went through, everything would be illegal." Sorry, bubble wrap is addicting. Anyhow, so he goes, and he says, "Yeah, I'm the Arkham Knight. What about it, Shota?" And she's like, "You know my first name?" And he says, "Yeah, I had to save your family, like, what, 11 times? Because y'all niggas don't know how to defend yourself." And she's, like, runs over to him, and she says, "My prince." And he says, "Wait a minute. What?" And she says, "I've been longing for the day that I would meet you." And she, like, kisses him, and he's like, "Nigga, I didn't agree to this. I'm halfway naked." And she says, "Oh, yes, we could do it now if you wanted." And he's just straight up looks up at All Might, and he says, "Do you want this, father?" And he said, "Nigga, I don't care. I disowned you a long time ago." And he says, "So I don't have to act respectful no more." And they're like, "Wait, what? Act respectful? I thought you were respectful. Like, just for whatever reason." And he said, "Yeah, I was acting respectful. You think I would act respectful to this nigga?" And they say, "But he's your dad." And he says, "I don't give two shit if God Almighty was my dad. But in all real life, if God Almighty was your dad, he'd smite you down with thunder." And then, like, thunder strikes him. And he's like, "Nigga, you heard me." Strikes him 3 more times. And he says, And, like, he had put up a shield over, Shota. And then he says, and he just started grilling All Might. Like, he's like, "Crackhead, cracker over here looking like a freaking saltine. Nigga, you too salty. Just cause I got the drip on me, you can fawn all over me. Nigga, freak leak? No. Nigga, you just a freak. Leaking blood bags? Yeah, sure. Or we can talk about that. Pull up on a nail. Nigga, real quick with a strap." And it just straight up turned into a rap battle. And he like, And like all the boys, like Kirishima, even Bakugo, like Kirishima, Kaminari, Bird Dude, or why did I say Bird Dude? Yep, Bird Dude. Mineta, and like just all the guys, they just straight catch him. And he says, I'm about to end this man's whole career. Bada bop boom. Pow. And they just like catch him again. And they're like, oh! Just straight up redone the whole meme. And he's like, nigga, you acted so respectful. And he's like, yeah, nigga, was an act. I don't want to deal with y'all niggas. What you think this is? Freaking Barry Crocker, isn't she? Like, what you think I am? Like, nigga, I'm a hero. But I can turn to a villain real quick. He's like, I knew you were a villain. And he just straight up creates bioelectricity. Just boom! Punches that nigga. And he has an electricity quirk. He can create it. And Denki, he's like, you can create electricity too? And he says, yeah, I can train you anytime if you want. And like all the boys are like, yes, train us all, please. He's like, alright, meet me at my house. And they're like, nigga, you got a house? And he says, yeah. And like at this point, he upgraded to a house. Like, he got a big mansion. Like, it's big. But, yeah. So, sorry. So, Deku, he goes, and he starts but, yeah, he upgraded to a mansion. It's big. Got a bunch of rooms and everything. Gaming room, a TV room, a home theater, all that stuff. He has like 13 extra rooms. And them is all for the boys. Yes. And he says, you know what? Everybody can live in my house. And he's like, we're gonna add in dorms though. And he says, my house will be safer than them dorms. Guarantee you that. And he says, explain. And he basically explains his whole floor plan, his security system, and everything. And they all like, yeah, it probably would. But, yeah. And so, he's up so, she says, ta-ta for now, my friends. Because, like, her and him, because it's, like, a 1v1 battle. And, like, then it's announced that those two will go up against each other. And they're, like, the two strongest kids in the class. We all know that he's gonna win, but I have a strong sense that he'll be defeated for some odd reason. And so Deku, he re-equips his suit, and he's just like, God, I already have a wife. If you didn't know, yeah, I just changed the ship in, like, the easiest way I thought of. So, yeah. But, so, yeah. And, Deku, he's, like, walking and trying to find her. She, like, cause she can use, fire to teleport. So that's the only way that she uses her fire, because she likes her dad in this one. Like, why would you be mad at your father for something that your mother did? Like, your mom's the one that straight up splatted the, stuff on your eye. Like, legit. And here's my thing. Why would Toya like get hurt by his fire if he had the body of an ice user. You can say, oh, well, his body would melt. No, dude. It'd constantly cool him down, if you think about it. So basically, he can use Prominence Burn anytime he feels like it. Like, legit. Anytime. Can do it anywhere. And just be perfectly fine. But, yeah. And so, oh, it changed photos. She, like, tackles him. And, like, she has him in this, sex position. She grabs his, honker. And she's like, you're quite large. And he says, if I would die right in this place, I could die a happy man. And he's just straight up pulls her in, kisses her, and he says, we'll talk later. And she's blushing. She's like, I didn't know he could be so dominant. My God. Like, she, like, was, like, acting all big and tough because, like, she didn't think that he would like her. But in reality, he had a crush on her from the first time that he saved them. That's why he always left the scene so quick, because he didn't want to see them. Because he didn't want to, get a boner in front of all of them. And them notice. And, like, they all like, this man, it's the third day of school. And he already got a girlfriend. But, like, all the boys are, like, real happy for him. But, like, all the girls are like, he got tooken. Why? Don't worry, I'll be doing Mina for the 100 sub special, aka this. But yeah. So get me to 100. But yeah. And so Deku, he goes and he starts mollywop, 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 mollywop. Or wait a second, no, we haven't even gotten to that part. So let's get to not the sports festival, the USJ. So the villains attack, and they're all like, hey, it's that kid again. Well, Shigaraki is. And like Kirigiri is like, seems to be. Guess he did get his dream. And they're all like, so happy. Because, like, they feel so happy that this kid had finally got something that he had wanted. That he didn't have to act like a drone anymore. That he wasn't being controlled by, like, someone else. Like, they truly do feel so happy. And they say, you know what, you've helped him. And, like, they point at Deku and he's like, it's you. And they say, you know him? You know a villain? Why? And he says, they tried to kidnap me once. I beat the crap out of all of them. And I said, But I kind of showed them my memories about what happened. And they're all like, what do you mean, what happened? And he says, nothing. Shut up. I didn't say anything. And, like, she says, my prince? What do you mean? And he says, might as well tell you all. He shows them all, and they're all like, All Might did all of that to his own son? Because, like, there wasn't even a resemblance to him and All Might. Like, he was completely different. And, like, they realized that he had black hair then. And, like, when they, like, finished getting through all of it, they're like, did you dye your hair to look less like him? He said, no, my hair went white from permanent stress. And they said, oh my god. And, like, Shota, she's crying and everything, and, like, she's just a bloody mess. Like, she goes up to him and hugs him, and she's like, why didn't you tell me? And he's just like, I'm perfectly fine. And, like, he's showing emotion, and, like, they realize he didn't have emotion as a child. He's showing it because he's happy with her. He's happy with her and when he's around his friends. He's happy when he's with people that he truly cares about and people that care about him. And like Kirishima, he punches him as hard as he can, and as hard as he can. I said cans. Why? As hard as he can, and he says, why didn't you tell us? We could have helped you through whatever you were going through. And he says, you couldn't have helped. It was too late by then. And so, the villains say, we'll sit here and wait for you to turn us all in. And they say, what? Why? And they say, psych, but thank you for taking care of the kid. We're so happy that he finally got to do something for once that he wanted to do. And, like, Shigaraki's in tears. And he, like, closes the door. I mean, he goes through a portal. They all go through a portal, and, like, they leave. Stuff like that. And, like, they just proceed with USJ. But, like, when All Might gets there, he's like, I am here. And everybody, they all just, like, give him this, like, death glare. And, like, 13, death glare. They're all like, huh? What's wrong, students? And, like, I'm gonna say Denki, he just walks up to him, touches him, straight up electrocutes that man, and, like, everybody else starts stomping him out. And he's like, y'all don't have to do that. And she says, he deserves it. And she, being Shota, she says, he deserves it. And he says, alright, let me at least get one hit in. And, like, he jumps up, creates the bioelectricity, hardens his fist, and says, times 1,000,000. And then he straight up says, Falcon Punch! Just kidding, he doesn't say that. But it looks like a Falcon Punch. But, yeah. Just boom! He's like, villain, how dare you touch me? And, like, Deku, he just kicks him and then heals him. But, like, Izumi, she was, like, hitting Deku and punching him and everything. And, like, kicking him and stuff like that. And then, Shota, she walks up to her, freezes her in ice, and just starts punching and punching and punching and punching, punch. And, dude, this one thing that I'm gonna have her do is harden her fists in ice. Like, turn her fist to ice so that she punches hard. Which, in my opinion, why didn't Todoroki do that? Like, he's literally retarded for not doing that. Like, come on. But, yeah. And so, Deku, he goes and, but, yeah. And so, this is where I'm gonna end it off. This video is probably like 2 hours long at least. But yeah, bye everybody. Have fun with the rest of your day. And road to 100. And join the Discord. But otherwise, bye guys.